We all face self-doubt, we all face doubt at some point in our lives. It can come from many sources, but sometimes the most powerful voices of doubt can come from inside. There have been many points in my life where I have had to stop, when I let doubt cloud my mind and when one question filled my brain. Why am I here? I want to share with you a few moments from the past year and a half or so where I found myself facing with this paralyzing question and what I did. So the first instance comes right at the beginning of first year, the freshers party. Went along with some people from north of our house to my residence last year. I'd been clubbing once before that, earlier that week in fact, and I hadn't really enjoyed it. But I'd paid good money for the ticket, so I figured I'd at least try. Wasn't long before I managed to get separated from the people I came with, and that's when the doubt started settling in. The music, the cheers of the crowd, and the thump of the bass all blurred into one as I asked myself, why am I here? Again, the money kind of motivated me. I paid money for this ticket, so I wasn't going to let myself be paralyzed. I asked myself instead, what am I going to do here? I contemplated leaving, but I figured it was still fairly early, so I decided to have a look around to see if I could find some of the people I came with. Eventually, I was able to regroup with them. Now here's the thing, the reason I hadn't enjoyed clubbing the first time I went was because I held back. I sat on the sidelines and watched, and I got extremely bored. I figured this time, I'd at least try and let go. It worked, actually. I really enjoyed that night. I'm still not much of a party animal. I'm not going to go out of my way to go clubbing, but thanks to that night, I will still enjoy myself. Of course, it's not all pointless clubbing doubts. Sometimes self-doubt can strike in more serious scenarios. The January exams last year, my first uni exams, I only had 2 of them, and they were multiple choice and short answer at that, but it didn't matter. I was still in a bit of a panic. I actually had a nightmare the night before my first exam. Dream started out like any other would. I got up, had breakfast, readied myself for the exam. I was going on my way to the venue, the Wills Memorial Building, where we are now. Great hall down there. When from behind I heard the sounds of a zombie horde. You laugh, I was terrified. I legged it all the way to the Wills Memorial Building. And you know what happened when I got there? They still made me sit the exam. The apocalypse had come, and apparently academic scoring came before the defense of humanity. Either way, nightmares aside, we come to the actual exam. I was waiting outside, and I was mildly distressed. That's when the question settled in. That's when I began to doubt myself. I asked myself, why am I here? Fun fact, I actually missed my grade requirements for the offer by 1. They wanted 2 A's and a B. I only got 2 B's and an A. Obviously, they let me in, otherwise I wouldn't be here, but at that moment, I did question that. Contemplated my options. I asked myself, what am I going to do here? Either I could back down, give in to the doubt, or I could clear my head and just try. Maybe silence the doubt. Obviously, I chose the latter. Cleared my head, went in, nice and focused, and just poured out everything I thought I knew. As it turns out, that was quite a lot. Those exams taught me an important lesson, that my A-levels were only the key to getting in here. Now that I'm at uni, it's what I do here that matters. Also showed me that panic before an exam just isn't helpful. Think of something, think of anything to keep your head clear and level. And that attitude alone can make a huge difference. The final example I want to give you comes from the Gatsby Plant Science Summer School over the last summer. It was the afternoon of the first day. We had a lecture in the evening and people were trickling in on the periodic coaches from the station. I was introducing myself, chatting to people, making small talk, but I didn't feel like I really clicked with anyone at that point. kind of bothered me at the back of my mind. And as I left that evening's lecture to queue up for dinner, the question set in. I asked myself, why am I here? Obviously, I was there to learn about plants, but this was a social week as much as an academic one. Was I to be the quiet outsider looking in for the whole week? I asked myself, what am I going to do here? And at that point, I didn't really have an answer. I did resign myself to a quiet week somewhat, as I collected my dinner from the buffet thing. I was able to change this with 5 little words. Mind if I join you? As it happens, the place I sat down, the people I sat with, I got on really well with. I clicked almost instantly. Changed my outlook on the week altogether. Maybe I was a little premature, thinking this is going to be terrible and boring and I'm going to be on my own. But either way, those people made it an excellent week, the memories of which I will cherish. We all face self-doubt at some point in our lives. The trick is not to let it paralyze you. Change the question from what am I doing here to what am I going to do here. Sometimes the answer is to challenge the obstacle and silence the doubt. Sometimes the answer is to know when you'll be, to back down. After all, discretion is the better part of valor. And sometimes the answer is just to admit that you don't have an answer at the minute. We all face self-doubt at some point in our lives, and it's usually the result of overthinking. So all you have to do is pause. Change the question. Ask yourself, what am I going to do here? And then do it.
Thank you. We'll be taking questions.
I really liked the simplicity of it. I didn't have a presentation with it, and I felt there was this moment that less is more. It's pretty good in that sense. Maybe I'm not sure, but I think hand gestures could emphasize some more words.
Thank you.
You know the zombies, is that a metaphor? And you didn't make it clear. What were there people dressed as?
I had no idea. It was people trying to kill me. It was a nightmare.
Oh, you were dreaming? Yes. I thought it was a metaphor. I hadn't quite understood.
Was that not clear?
Clear.
Okay. Just Catherine then. Okay.
Alright.
Over here.
Yeah, really good, Nick. I really enjoyed, personally made it. And you linked 3 things into 3 separate stories and linked all into one. Really good. Yeah, I think I agree with actually with Catherine. Actually, I wasn't sure what you were talking about zombies. She actually meant there were some zombies.
And he's smart.
And you said you were going to run from the Wills building, but I thought you said you already were at the Wills building as well. So, but yeah, that's a minor thing. I think also perhaps maybe more grander gestures to emphasize your points, maybe. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's like the second inspiring pep-up speech of the evening, and it was really good, mate. It did the trick for me, thank you.
Anybody else?
Go on, someone rip me to shreds. Go on, criticise
You
me.
can do
Your
one more.
shirt's too loud.
Go for it.
Yeah, I don't know the.
It says teaser. Anyway.
Is it rude?
Nigel, do you have something to say?
No. Right, it was a very good speech, very good. But as you said correctly last time the school, it is Gatsby Plant School.
Oh, I noticed that too, and I was like, oh.
Can we save this for drinking the pub?
Okay, well, one last one from over there.
Maybe also the rest of it a bit more focus, because at the beginning of each group, they meandered quite a bit, I thought, so maybe if you sort of down it and just got to the question.
Yeah, we'll go with one last one then.
I really liked your presentation, but the whole time listening a little bit depressed, you know, like yeah, it's as some joke about music here, yeah, and I like your teacher.
Someone's got a text me.
Anyway, but in all seriousness, yeah, no, it was a very inspirational speech, and the message actually came across quite clearly. There was some waffle there, especially I saw at the beginning when he said, I'm going to share some stories. Don't know what to say, you need to go straight into the stories. Yeah, there was some waffle at the beginning of each of the stories. I thought if you were standing one centre spot, which you did, that would be good, but then on your feet, you were not very grounded. You were, again, a bit shaky. So rather than stand there poised and present, it was almost a bit shaky. You don't have to walk around the whole stage, but if you're central and try to stay grounded and do that, maybe that can bend me a little bit, and then don't imagine you're planted there, but trying to use the stage more effectively in your story. Maybe from one story you can be on one part of the stage, second story, third, and almost like a time there. It was good that you appealed to the auditory senses when you were saying the thump of the music, and then you were saying that was a list of 3 over there. But appealing to all the senses, to smell, to sound, to vision, be good. And you could have actually done that more in your stories, like with the zombies as well, in your nightmares. But it was good humour with the zombies, which I really liked. You are getting a lot of fun in your speeches. Yeah, one thing you did at the second time, you said it didn't click, but the first one you could have clicked the fingers like that. So thinking when you think, I really want you to click the fingers then. And the voice was almost one tone, not necessarily like one tonality out, but wasn't that a variation in tone? So it kind of like stayed in the middle, and it wasn't, for some reason, though it was inspiration, the emotion didn't really come across you. What were you feeling? Think about it, what were you feeling at that point? And then when you're standing there right now at that point, you need to really dig deep and imagine what is it you're feeling at this moment. And it didn't seem like you were completely present in yourself, and therefore the emotion and the vulnerability, it did come across a little bit, but it didn't come across as much as it could have, I felt. And also I counted your pauses, especially after why am I here? And the pauses, they tend to range from about 1 second to 1.5 seconds. There was one pause that was 2 seconds long after you said why am I here? And then that was the most effective one. But I think even 2 to 3 second pauses might seem a bit long to you, but again, it's actually not to the audience. And the why am I here is a really good hook, I think, and I really think the message really came across. But then, if the pauses were a lot longer, and it would always give you more time to draw into yourself emotionally, then it would have been a lot more effective. And I definitely like the ending. You just again stood there, and then you just stepped back a bit, a little half step, and then it was clear you knew that was what the ending was. So it was a very powerful ending, but with more pauses and drawing into yourself more emotionally, thinking about how you're feeling at that moment and being more present, then it'll open it up a lot more, and you'll be a lot more vulnerable, and that vulnerability will really come across to us, because that was an emotional bridge between you and the audience.
Thank you. One more round of applause for Nick, please.